Hey y'all, this is Cindy. I'm the Tireless Tangler. I want to welcome you all back to the 100 Days of Zentangle Project 2020. Thank you guys so very much for being with me today and every day. Our tangle for today, or tangles for today, are going to be Huggy Bear, and that is by JJ LaBarbera, and Hurry, and that is a Zentangle Original Pattern. All right, let's get our tile going and see what happens. Let's not jump ahead. Let's breathe. Come on, guys, breathe with me. I need some air today. I also need my glasses before we start. Take those deep breaths. Make sure your shoulders are relaxed, your arm and hand is relaxed. And let's get started. I want to give a shout out to, I know who it is. Why can't I remember? The person that broke their wrist. I am so sorry to hear that happened, and I hope you're going to be okay. And practice drawing with your left hand or your offhand, okay? All right, so for today, I am going to start with my dots on each corner. And I'm using a gray toned tile today. That is a Zentangle Original tile. Okay, hopefully you guys can see my corners all right. And now I'm going to do a little bit of a fun border, but not too much. I'm going to add a Maria Thomas loop to this. And then I think the rest of these will be a little bit wavy. I am not drawing these in very dark though, am I? So I think the rest is going to be a little wavy, but not too much. And of course I am redrawing these darkly so that you guys can see them, but you keep yours nice and light. All right, so this is what I've got. And today I want to use Tangle Pattern string number 122. And it looks like this. It's kind of bulgy. It starts maybe a little bit under midpoint. And it sort of bulges up and then comes back to the edge. And then down here in this corner, there is a little circle or orb, like this, okay? And so this is the string I'm gonna use, all right. So what I'm gonna do is make a square dot grid, just like we did for What the Well, okay? But these are gonna be tiny dots, okay? Now, I don't know that you can see these. I'm not going to make them too small, but I'm also not going to make them too large. They're going to be just right. Sorry, that's from a children's fairy tale. We have the three bears. Goldilocks and the three bears. That's actually not ours. That's a Märchen from Hans... you know, Anderson. Yeah. Okay, continuing. Cindy, try to stay on track. I'm going to go ahead and go down, and then I'll add these over here. A little differently. Maybe this will work better. Not sure. I wish I had somebody to yell at me when it goes out of focus. Y'all are probably yelling, I just can't hear you. All right. And here and here. All right. And maybe one more. I think that's all. And then, no, that should be there. And then I need to bring these over. And that one won't show. This is going to sort of get angled weird, but the point of this is hand-drawn art, and that's what we're getting for sure today. All right. So let's start. This is rather similar to Huggins. In fact, in the write-up on Tangle Patterns, she says, JJ says that she was doing Huggins one day and had turned her, had gotten messed up and turned the wrong way. And that's where this tangle came from, hence the name Huggy Bear. So we're going to make, from dot to dot, we're going to switch sides. Okay, so arc here and then dip here. Like that, okay? And on the next row over, we're going to mirror. And we want to have nice, pleasing curves on here, if you can. If you can't, don't sweat it. Just go back and forth. I meant to switch to my PN. Let's do that. The reason I drew my dots in with the 0-1 is because the PN is larger, and so I'm much more likely to obscure those dots with my lines if I draw the lines with a PN. Then those dots are definitely going to be disappearing much easier. Yeah. Okay. All right. Continuing. Okay, you're not going to get them all, but don't worry about it. Always mirroring the lines next to you. Okay, and you know, you're not going to get all your dots, so don't sweat it if you don't. All right, let's see if we can figure out what the heck we're doing over here. Okay, I'm going to try to mirror this, and then okay, and then so this one will be, and this one will be something like this. And then this will go down. And so I don't think we see that one here. All right, so these are a lot more wiggly than these are almost flat, but let's put in our alternate direction and see what we end up with. I think this is going to take care of itself all on its own. Let's find out. So we're going to repeat what we just did going down the other direction, okay? So our goal is to have these rounded orbs, okay? So that's how you know which direction to go, okay? The orbs should look rounded. And so this will go this way and this way. All right, and down and over like that. Okay, and so over here we're going to go this way and then let that be a rounded orb. Yeah, and then here Okay, and then like this. Hopefully that's sort of kind of clear. All right, now this is supposed to be an orb. So I am guessing, let's see. So this is this. So I'm just going to go ahead and draw that in that way and hope that it's going to work out for me. And at this point, you really can just sort of, you know, keep with the direction you're going and sculpt those how you want them to be. You know, you just want them as orb-like as possible. But they don't have to be perfect, as you can see. Of course, y'all's will be great. I have no doubt. I also want to remind you guys that all tangles are not for all tanglers. Some tanglers really enjoy some things and some do not. Grid tangles and organic are one common divide. All right. I think this is close enough. Okay, so the next step on this is then to draw a circle or an orb in the center of this and black around it or ink around it. All right. Now, I am going to use a different variation in here, and there are many, many things you could do with this. You could go out in a spiral like printemps from here, which might be really interesting. You can aura the inside of that a couple of times. You can leave the dot out. You can stripe it going whatever way, you know. So the little diamond shape, that's your play area. Now I suppose you could play in the orbs, but I think the effectiveness of this pattern comes when those are shaded as orbs, and then you do your decorating inside. But I'm going to go ahead, because I know the result is going to be cool and dramatic, I'm going to go ahead and ink mine in. And this is a place where you can do some work on your orbs if you've got stray lines like I do here. You can definitely pick up some of those and magically make them disappear as you're doing your inking. Remember to use a light pressure on your ink pen. Your ink will flow much more smoothly out. And I also had someone leave me a comment that they were using, you know, inferior materials because that was what they had. And the pen situation was tough. I get it. I really get it. Not having correct pens is really hard. That's probably the one thing, if I had to choose what to spend money on, that would be the thing that I would get, I think, would be a decent pen. But, you know, when I started, I used regular ink pens like ballpoints and things like that. And some of those they have write really smoothly now, so that might be an option. But if you can, you know, find a decent micron or get a Zentangle kit that would have one in it, that is a good choice. Now I tend to, on my storefront on Amazon, I tend to put them in packs because they're actually cheaper to purchase that way. But there are ways to buy them singly, and so you might just look around and see what you can find. Really, the important thing about a pen is that it's waterproof and that the ink is archival, meaning it will not fade or change its tone or anything over the years. And that's an artist thing, because we don't want that. Or legal documents, I guess. Forgot to draw in my little orb, didn't I? And I wanted you to know, the person that left that comment, that I feel you. This is where I was. The first thing I had to draw in was my sketch pad that was from 1972 when I was a kid. And the paper in there was so old that it was falling apart. And I think it was maybe cold pressed watercolor paper, so it was also a tough draw. But boy, did I use every single sheet. Every one. Every one. So I understand. I wanted you to know that there is a kind of copy paper called premium, and it is much nicer to draw on than regular cheap copy paper. And so if you do a search for premium copy paper, that will bring you to what you want. And it's slightly heavier as far as the, what's that called? A GSM or something, whatever the measuring thing they use for paper. The higher the number of pounds it is, then, or whatever, then the better quality the paper is. All right. Sometimes drawing on copy paper is not bad. It's nice and smooth, and it can be a very relaxing thing. And when I run out of good paper, I use copy paper. I'm not going to lie. And quite honestly, I bought 2 reams back, who knows how many years ago, and I haven't even come close to using them. Of course, I use other supplies, but I'm not too proud. But I would upgrade, if at all possible, to premium copy paper. You're still going to get a whole bunch for a low price. It's not quite as low as the others, but it's a much heavier paper type, and it will hold up much better to some of the things we want to do. It would also be better for colored pencil. There's a tiny bit more tooth in it. It's not so smooth. Well, I've been forgetting to put my middle dots in. That's okay. I can come back in with a jelly roll. In fact, I think that was JJ's suggestion for drawing this, was just to ink it and then dot in a jelly roll. Of course, that's not necessary, and you don't have to. But since I'm using a gray tile today, any bits of white I know are going to really make things interesting. I said I was going to use a different pattern in here, but I decided to ink them all. Well, somebody's doing some construction. I will be so glad when I can afford some soundproofing. I think that would help things so tremendously. Now, it won't help the dog situation. They're still going to be loud. But it would help with the traffic noise and things like that. So I'm going to invite myself and you to slow down with your inking. This isn't a race. We're not in a hurry. And I'm pretty much half done here. Our second tangle shouldn't take very long. It's very simple, although very challenging for me personally. As you all well know, straight lines and I, we have a love-hate relationship. They love to hate me. Simba is enjoying his breakfast, and it is 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Little Bit doesn't leave him alone to eat in peace in the mornings. She has to have her bit, and if he tries to eat, she switches bowls. She's ornery, that little girl. Remember to allow yourself to move slowly enough for your ink to leave the pen and soak into the paper. Rushing will just make your ink lay down take longer. It will pool much more smoothly if you will just take your time. Okay. Bon appetit, Simba. Now that Simba's here and finished, River is going to eat. Thank you for sharing our mealtime with us today, guys. Well, my procedure went well today. Hopefully my pain level over the next week will get better steadily. Now the joy of this pattern is definitely in the shading. By inking all these spaces, once we get the rounded shading going on the orbs here, it is going to really make everything cool. You know, last week we were like ridiculously cold. Below zero, well below zero. This week it's got to be 70 degrees outside. This is Oklahoma. This is what we get. We have April weather in February and ridiculous weather in February and January. And yeah, next week it'll be 85. And the week after, it might snow again in April. It frequently snows in April here. Well, maybe not frequently, but I've had multiple years in my life here in Oklahoma where it has snowed where there should be no snow, like in April, and then, at least not in this region, and then the next day it will be, you know, in the 80s or 90s. That's silly. I'd blame Mother Nature, but I know it's not her fault. I know it's really us messing around with the world. We need to quit that. We need to care about her, so she'll care about us. Because Mother Nature is going to be around a long time after we are gone. The kids are playing. And by kids, I mean dogs. So, how is the world today? Y'all tell me. Are you two done? Hey, Simba. Oh, I forgot my dot again. Well, now I am sure I'll be using my jelly roll. You guys know I still have not received my driver's license. I submitted that on January the, I want to say 5th or 6th. It is now February, almost the end of February, so almost 2 months now I have been waiting. This is craziness. And it's supposedly been in the mail now for more than 2 weeks. Of course, we've had snow and ice like crazy since then, but come on. All right. So this is where we're at with this. This is going to become so much more cool as soon as we get the shading done. But in the meantime, make sure I have all my little stars filled in. Okay. And it's a typical windy spring day in the middle of winter. Well, if nothing else, Texas should be thawed out by now. All right. I think that's about as good as we're going to get in there. All right. So now I'm going to switch back to my 01. And we're going to do hurry. Now, I'm going to tell you now, this is a challenge for me because of all the straight lines and auras it's got. So I'm going to do my very best, and I'm going to try very hard to stay zen about the outcome, okay? You guys can get upset for me. I'm just kidding. All right, so in hurry, you're going to start with a set of 3 lines that are parallel to each other and straight. All right. Now we're going to make a cross. So horizontal now. All right. So this goes this way. This will go about this way. All right. Let's see how we did here. Not so good. And in her example, Maria sparkles hers. You do not have to. It'll just add a little bit of visual interest, okay? Now, we are going to divide this twice more, all right? And we're going to have one going, and they're both going to go through the middle. So let me see, where's my angle here? And then this will go, okay? I think that bent, but all right. So now I'm going to add my additional lines here. And don't worry, we're going to have some cool shading on this that is going to help my little irritating spots. So now I'm going to go back this way. See if we can get Simba to settle down. Come on, Cindy, slow down. This would seem so simple, and for many of you, this may be simple. This is not simple for me. Probably not for my other shakers. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to find the angle of the very first one we drew, and that's going to be easy to find because it's going to be the one that is on the top. And we are going to draw in on each side some aura lines here. Okay. Now this is like the Tangle, I was going to say Arucas, but that's not it. That's not it. Okay. And I'm going to do a couple more like that, and then I'm going to turn this and go the opposite direction. I'm trying to remember how they did it in the step out, and I'm not exactly sure, which is never good. Okay. All right. So I think this is just filled in the rest of the way. So I'm just going to quickly do that. Maybe not quickly, carefully. That's what I meant to say, carefully. All right. Okay. So the ones I am auraing are the one that we started with, and the one going the opposite direction from the one we started with. I got into trouble with this earlier by not understanding exactly which sides that I was supposed to aura on. So I ended up doing the diagonal ones, and that did not work out so well. The reason is because we want these to sit on top, and if we don't have this business, then they don't do that. If that made any sense at all, probably not. Go slowly, Cindy. Try not to encroach into your other sections. All right, just a little bit more here. And then the question now is, I need to go down, but how am I going to, I'm going to put another one over here, and I'm trying to figure out how to end this out and still have that over there. So I don't know the answer yet. When in doubt, just keep going. Well, I think this is where we're going to make our stand. Oh, slow down. All right, now, so this should be, so now I need to do this. All right. Okay, now I'm going to put another one over here. And we're going to have some fun shading opportunities, and this is going to work out great. So I'm going to put this, I want to put it straight up and down. I think I'll go this way. Okay. So perpendicular. Sam. All right, and twice more through here. And one more. Oops. Did not mean to do that, but there you are. Okay. All right. I'm just going to give that one more. Okay, now we're going to remember the ones that we started with and the one opposite of that. So this one and this one, okay? And this shouldn't take long. This is a pretty small space. And, okay, now to over here. All right. And so the next one we're going to do is the one that crosses this. So this one, all right? There. Now, let me look at this. So this is this way. All right. Now, I'm trying to decide where I want to put my chop. Oh man, I put this one going the wrong way, didn't I? No, I didn't. But this, I did something wrong here. Okay, I might put my chop right there so that we don't have any more of this awkwardness. Because nobody needs awkwardness. Okay. There we are. Now let's shade. See what happens. Hopefully some magic. Otherwise, this might be a flop. But if it is, again, it will be another step on our journey, and I will take it in stride. Probably, maybe, possibly, hopefully. So you want to shade along all of your initial sections. So there's my first one. And here's my second one. And up here. These can get really easily obscured, but we're not going to let that happen. Another way to emphasize that would be to put line weight on it, as in maybe redraw that with a pen or something a little bit larger. Okay, and I think we got them. All right, let's go over here. Now the other places, if I've got any perpendicular lines, then I definitely want to shade there, which I definitely did. And then I'm going to go back to starting with my initial lines and shading next to those. Okay. I'll decide whether or not to go over those lines with a pen after I'm done with the shading. I don't want to, simply because I know how the job that I do with the pen going over lines is, you know, gonna be not the cleanest thing. But, you know, if that's what I need to do, then I can. All right, now, the last place I'm going to shade is on my HUGGY BEAR, and I'm going to put a crescent of color, as we usually do for these orbs, just like that. Just stroke in a little crescent moon of graphite. And when we blend that out, if we need more, we can always add more. And if we get into our highlighted area, we can always take some out. Even if your orbs are misshapen, you want to go ahead and do this in a rounded way. Okay, make sure your crescent is nice and round, because even if these edges are not perfect, it's still going to work. And no, I still haven't figured out what I'm going to do with it. I could put hurry in there as well, but I don't know that I want to, and I want to blend it all out before I get that far. So I'm going to start with my orbs and my paper stump. And I'm going to want to get this as smooth as possible. Now, I saw a video where Maria Thomas does her orbs where she puts the crescent moon of color in, and then she just goes all the way around. And it's effective. What she does is effective, of course. So I might try that. We'll see. Like this. So you're still going to have a darker color on one side, but the whole thing is going to be a little bit more rounded. And you'll notice that I'm not going all the way to the edge here. You know, rim light and all that other stuff I don't understand and I don't want to teach. Probably more correct to say I don't want to understand it too much. I recognize what good shading is. I can, in certain situations, do a decent job. But like I've told you before, it really interferes with my Zen because I have to think so much. But the more I practice it, the more natural it becomes for me. So, you know. Okay. Okay. Almost there. Yep, timing is perfect. We're right at 1 hour. And all that does is it takes the graphite, the extra graphite, and moves it around. Try to avoid any lines. Soften it all up. And like in this one where I need to, although I probably won't need to lift much out since I'm going to use my charcoal pencil on this, let's move over here and just blend this out from each section. Okay. This will definitely need more shading. I think this should give you a really good idea of where I'm going to go with mine. You can see on Hurry, the straighter and more cleanly you can draw your lines, the more effective the optical illusion is. Yeah. This is actually a pretty cool tile. It reminds me of the night sky. Is it just me? Is that weird? All right, let me get my jelly roll out. Hopefully it will give me a better result than yesterday over that colored pencil. That was disappointing. Oops. Let's see. Yeah. Hopefully we'll be able to get something out of this. And even if I left the spot, I'm going to go ahead and put it over there because this will be white and my tile is gray. Yeah. Oops, this one needs some help. Yeah, that's better. And where else did I want to put something? Oh, I forgot to get my charcoal pencil. I had it here waiting. There it is. Okay, and now the last step is to come around on each of these orbs with your white charcoal pencil, or you can use a white Prismacolor, and just put in a really nice round highlight. Try to give it enough charcoal to really get a smooth top on that. And this will be our last step. This is why I love General's white charcoal, is because they are smooth. There's no scritching, which is my word for the hard spots in the pencil that scrape against the tooth of your paper in a quite unpleasing way. I hope you guys are all doing okay. I just want to let you know again how much I appreciate you. All of you that are still watching this, I appreciate you. And Kimberly F., I even appreciate you if you fast forward through and just skip to the end to see what I did. I still appreciate you. You can still be in our Enders Club if that's what you want. So on the Enders Club shirt, do we need to have somebody drooling, asleep and drooling out the side of their mouth while the TV goes to static? It's a thought, isn't it? Proud member of the Enders Club. Yeah. Hey, don't be stingy with the white charcoal. You want a nice, smooth blend there. Ooh, that makes it look even more like a night sky, doesn't it? All right, where's my clean end? There is none. Well, I'm going to have to look at this in a different light. Okay. And I will take my eraser and lift out just a couple of spots, like right in here where I've got a messy job. But this turned out really fun. I mean, I'm just sort of mesmerized by this Huggy Bear pattern. It's perfect on tan, or this would be awesome. Can you imagine this in brown on a Renaissance tile, or on a box back? I'm feeling it. I am feeling it. That'd make a great brown tile, wouldn't it? And I love Hurry. I love all of those perpendicular line tangles where you've got lines going in different directions and you have so much fun shading. So yeah, this is where I'm going to leave you guys today. What do you think? I had a lot of fun with this. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video, and I hope I'm going to see you again tomorrow for day 26. All right, guys. Take care, be safe, and I'm sending you love from Oklahoma.